Bitcoin dropped by 6.3% yesterday. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the price action is heading next and where I think the next big opportunities are for those short-term trades. We'll be taking a look at the short, medium, and long-term views for BTC. So as I get into today's video, if you do find it useful, informative, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's jump right down into it. We're going to kick things off right here with the 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin. Okay, so this is Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 hour Binance chart, and you can see that we were talking about this move down into the low range of 55,630 to 56,786 yesterday, and we came right down into this range with a wick low coming in at $56,078. We've bounced from here a little bit. Okay, so since we've had that drop, we have rallied up about 3.85% at the point of recording today's video. Now this move still shows a potential for a little bit more to the upside, but we are of course seeing once again more resistance here on the hourly chart for BTC. Okay, so let's go ahead and reflect on what's going on. So where do we think the next big moves on the 1 hour time frame are going to be, where we could potentially do some leverage trades and take advantage of the volatility? So as we can see, minimum expectations have been met. The minimum expectation for this move to the upside from that low, basically that came in once we hit this high here of 57,885. Now we have of course been rejected, as we can see on the Fibonacci charts right here on the 786. That is the 58,530 with the wick on the what candle is this one? This one here is the 0200 hours. This particular candle went up to a high of 58,517. So you can see here that we basically found resistance on that 786. Okay, so big rejections there. Now typically what we would be looking for is a bit more of a push to the upside to land somewhere in this little sweet spot between 58,929 and 59,371. This area would be our 1 to the 1.236 fib scale. This is typically where we would expect those moves to kind of go. We'll go ahead and just draw these in as a W, X, and Y structure so you can kind of see how that plays out. Although minimum expectations have been met and we have been rejected on that 786, unless we come down lower than the previous swing low at $57,098, unless we come down lower than that, we still have this potential move to the upside. Okay, so we want to be kind of optimistic where possible, but curious at the same time and cautious at the same time. Okay, so our targeted ranges here are coinciding with the 200 hourly EMA at 59,411, the 50 SMA, that's the yellow line, at 59,000, and the 50 EMA is the blue line coming through here at 58,692. Okay, so we can see that these are going to be upper areas of resistance. You can see on the stochastic RSI, we still show some more room to the upside, so it doesn't look like we have finished this move, and I do think we have a strong chance at going up towards the 200 EMA. So what's the opportunity? Well, the opportunity isn't necessarily to go long. The opportunity is to probably go short on Bitcoin once we kind of get into these upper areas. Lots of different ways of approaching it. Could go short on the 50 EMA there with a stop loss above the 200 EMA. We've got the 50 SMA, go short once we kind of hit resistance there. Again, stop loss above the 200 EMA. Or alternatively, go for a resistance on the 200 EMA, really tight stop loss, but I would probably lift it above the previous swing high. Again, we're going to be looking for a big move to the downside. No targets necessarily just yet, but I would expect us to be retesting that low range again at around 56 to 55k, so probably a trailing stop on this one would be really lucrative. Again, we could look at this as a 4.9 risk reward ratio, so shorting the market is going to be my preferred option. If we really wanted to go long, we would be looking at going long from the current price, previous swing low down here at approximately 57,100. I'd put the stop loss just lower than there, so about 57,000 and let's say 45, and we target out that range of expectations. The problem here is you're not going to have a good risk reward ratio. It's not a trade that I personally would do, but of course if I am to be leverage based trading, I'm going to be trading on Blowfin or BitGet, both of my go-to leverage based platforms. They're really easy and intuitive to use. If you haven't yet got an account, check them out. The linked in the description down below. I don't think you'll regret it. They are really, really easy platforms to understand and to use both on desktop and on mobile. So that's my approach to this, right? So we'll look for a short, not necessarily a long, and we are going to be targeting out on the smaller time frame, 58,900 to 59,400. And we're going to be looking for rejections on any of these. Now, of course, if we do get a closed position above the 200 EMA, that could be a breakout that we could go long on. But I don't think that's likely to happen. But it's something to kind of bear in mind, as I have spoken about many, many times before. Okay, so for Bitcoin on the smaller time frame, on the 1 hour time frame, expect volatility, guys. This is kind of the message I've been saying for a couple of weeks now. We're seeing a lot of liquidity being extracted from the market. We've gained another example of this yesterday. We're looking for this push to the upside, but ultimately it's going to be another short opportunity, and I do think more people are going to get wrecked from it. But it is unfortunately a part and part of everything that goes on in the crypto space. So let's go ahead and jump back down into the charts, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the longer time frames, right? So we're going to come up into our medium time frame, that is the daily chart. Okay, so on the daily chart here, you can see that we are looking for a bit of a push to the upside still. Okay, this is what we were talking about yesterday. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen right away. This is also something that I was talking about yesterday. Okay, so whilst we're still seeing extreme volatility on the smaller timeframes, we need to expect more slippage to the downside before we get into that big run to the upside. We are targeting out $70,000 or $65,000 to $70,000 on the daily time frame, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen right away. We are looking for a bit of a move to the downside before we can enjoy those big runs to the upside, in my opinion. So we are looking to short the market. We are looking to probably retest some of these existing areas at around kind of $54,000 down to that $49,000. It's a huge, interesting area in the charts where we could see some big liquidations and some liquidity being extracted from the market as a result. At the moment here on the daily time frame, you can see that we're finding rejection on the 200-day EMA, the 50 SMA, the yellow line, and the 50 EMA, the blue line. So things on the daily chart are not yet ready for big progression to the upside, but I do think it is likely to happen in the near future. We are looking for that breakout. I just don't think it's going to happen just yet. Expect more volatility during the month of August before we start to see those bigger lifts to the upside. Ultimately, I think we do have the ability to see a $40,000 to $43,000 BTC. It's not what we want to say. It's not what we want to kind of hear, I guess, but it is something that I think we should be aware of. It's possible that we do retest this previous area of consolidation before we lift on up. Now, that could happen in September, that could happen late August. I can't time the market, but there are some fundamental things that are occurring next month in September, and that could lead us down into these ranges as more panic sets into the market. This, though, on a grander scale, if I zoom out, is not a bearish thing. This is something that happens time and time again. Happens all these bullish markets. We've seen it over and time and over again. We can see that after we bottomed out in 2018, we had a great run to the upside. We had this correction of 53% during a Federal Reserve pivot. We also saw more interest rates dropping as well, dropping down another 63% in the March 2020 crash, before we got into that big runs to the upside. And what I'm saying, guys, is that everything that we've had in 2023 and 2024 so far is just a precursor to the actual bullish market, where we are looking for a big run in 2025 for Bitcoin, rallying up very, very significantly. I would be surprised if we do not see somewhere in the range of $120,000 to $140,000 BTC in that next big surge to the upside. So although this might seem bearish to some new people who maybe haven't been in the space all that long, everything is kind of going along as we've been kind of expecting and talking about for months. Okay, so everything's kind of looking out quite nicely for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Great opportunities to accumulate not just BTC, but also many altcoins that are bleeding out at the same time. Okay, so although it can be a little bit daunting with such significant swings in the market, my kind of take here is that this is the kind of stuff that happens every single cycle. It's nothing different, nothing unusual about it, and we are likely to see another significant surge to the upside once this correction finishes. Confidence should be there because we can see overlapping nature in terms of the price action, and that to me often tells me believe that things here are short term, even though they are taking several months to play out, are not a long-term trend to the downside. Guys, you can let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your long-term price expectations for BTC? Let me know, and join us in our free Discord server where we can continue the conversations down there. And guys, why don't you check out my second channel just up here where I talk about the Cardano technical analysis on a day-by-day basis.